that 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 issue in you that says, I'm allowed to do it. Why shouldn't I do it? You hold yourself back. So that's a way of controlling yourself. That's one thing the Rebbe said. And the Rebbe said that's shayich, that's applicable today, 1960s Brooklyn, New York, meaning in today's world. Number two, the Rebbe said, as the Bachurim go from 770 across the street, the kitchen was on 749 across the street, that's where we had the kitchen at the time, they should continue conversing the Gemara that they just closed and discussed. As they, the Chaverim, friends are going across the street to the lunchroom. The Rebbe said that too takes work, right? You could talk about anything you want now. It's free, So here you see, David, that the Rebbe didn't say to Rebbe Nissan, no, you should still demand the same type of things of the Bachurim that you demanded 40 years ago in Russia, in Samarkand. The Rebbe agreed with him that some of those behaviors and to hold yourself back and not and not do them is too much. People are not there today. That's why when you said ketchup, I think there's other more important issues. Truth be said, when we were in yeshiva, and I'm going back, I'm not that old, late 70s, early 80s. There was still a feeling of, if I lived the diet that I lived when I was a bacher, I wouldn't look this way. I mean, there was no such a thing that I drank soda. Not that I drink soda today, much, But potato chips, forget it. There were certain foods that I never put into my mouth because they tasted good. And I had a geschmack. And I worked, and I remember, and I was, you're talking about
it. It wasn't because they weren't unavailable.
They were right in front of me, they were available.
You purposely stayed away from indulgent food.
Yeah. Yeah, not because of
said to the Bachram in those days?
To those Bachram that if a Bacher wanted to engage in that activity, but what I'm saying, most Bachrim were not looking for those type of things. I'm saying, so I don't want to, and I'm sure today in the Lubavitcher system there are Bachrim like that too. But it's very individual. It's individuals, one here, one there. You know what I'm saying? As a klal in Reb Nissan's times, in the 1930s and 40s, this was the Bacher. This was the mainstay of the Bacher. In other words, the issue was within that domain, a little more, a little less, but everyone was into that domain. Anyway, let's now go and learn inside on page Yeshu Test. Any questions on what I said? No, okay, so we're third line, and Shaya says we're umnam ha'ikirhu. So although the Rebbe spoke about various aspects of constructive criticism until now, he comes along and he says in the third line, Omnam ha'ikirhu, the primary condition for constructive criticism, it is that at the time when you're giving the musar, tia hachnoes lev hamechiach, the one that's giving the musar, called the mochiach, his or her heart should be hachno, subjugated, modest. The levad is the godel hadoy nitzas bavin hadoy. In addition to the fact that the great godel of the generation is blamed for the sin of the generation, v'kasher mechiach azulosei, and therefore, when he gives musar to his friend, harihu godel mimenu, he's greater than him. He's a godel. Someone who has the ability to give musar obviously is in a position of authority. What does it mean? And he says, the intent means an intent. It says the word nitfas, he's grabbed, tfisa. He the gam boy yesh inyan zeh, bedakus or bedakus the dakus. When we say he's nitfas boven ador, it means that he has to come to a position that he sees that he himself has some of what the people are messing up. He should be so humble that he comes to a place within himself that somehow he sees that the issue at hand that he's scolding them about, he himself has in a bedakus, in a very refined way. And he has, this is not easy. When you see someone, right? When you see someone doing a transgression, which you say, I don't do that. The Rebbe says that attitude is not the healthy attitude to accomplish good criticism. If you want to be successful in your constructive criticism, you have to find it somehow within yourself as well. Let's see. Avo al koponim, even though it's in a very refined way, harayesh boizeh, he has it somehow. V'liyoisei godel, and since he's a godel, he's a great one. He knows the severity of the matter, even as it is in a very refined way, in a very refined way. In other words, the greater you are, Shaya, you realize that that what I'm looking at is a reflection. It's the famous word, the Aviv of the Baal Shem Tov, right? That you're a mirror. That what you see in someone else is really saying, I got it too. Now how do I, and I have to, and it should bother me, but I don't have it. I don't have the issue that I see, the sin, the transgression, the grubkeit. Just wait a second. And he says, Uvemela harayediya zu. This knowledge, and by finding it within himself in a very refined way, it causes the person, the one who's giving the musar, to do great tshuva, from the depth of his heart, and he cries, with the bitterness of his soul, for this. And as we find by what? By many great gedolim of the generation, they